Eric Mother with Mother.com. Let's take a look at the chart for Apple, and there's a lot of talk about the stock breaking out. Let me share with you the breakout level on the weekly. It's moving above this recent weekly closing high. So as long as the stock can hold above that level, you can expect to see higher prices. Now the level to watch there is 114.92. So anything above that is a fresh weekly breakout. The stock could be setting up to move higher. Now that's the obvious takeaway from moving above the recent weekly closing high right here. Now let me discuss some aspects of the chart that are not pretty much obvious when you look at it. If you take a look at the RSI on the weekly, you'll see that, as we discussed previously, check the description for the previous video, and you'll see here that there was a break on the weekly RSI that brought the stock off the highs of 2015 on a weekly chart. So we draw a line from there, and you can see that what is happening right now is the market is coming back to test this red line. Now this red line was resistance during this period here for those highs. We've hit this here for a pullback that took a couple weeks. We hit this a couple weeks ago. Check the video description for the link where I discussed potential resistance here. So we got a shallow pullback, and now we are coming back to test the same line here. So if the stock can stay above that red line on the weekly chart, then there is a chance that this might lead to further price advance. The problem is, if it cannot hold above that red line and shows resistance, then that would be confirmation of a potential move lower. So resistance on this red line would suggest that the next swing trade of meaningful magnitude is going to be to the downside. Now also on the weekly chart, we had previously discussed a longer view, which is the 5-year weekly. Just want to draw a simple line going back to the lows of 2013 through here. Now keep in mind, this break brought the market off the highs again of 15. We haven't been back to these levels. So what we do is we extend the same break line like that. And you can see that the market has hit that level on a couple of occasions here for the highs there, and a pullback took place. And recently we've been bumping heads with this line. So lots of resistance levels in terms of the weekly RSI as far as I can see. So I would start to lean to the idea that this breakout might not have as much thrust as people might think it has. And why do I say that? Take a look at the daily. Now the one thing we can see here, the daily is also doing its best to break out, and the level to watch here is this recent daily closing high, and the stock right now is trading above 115.57, which happens to be this daily closing high. So really, in terms of breakout strategy, as long as the stock is above that level of 115.57, as long as it continues holding above that, then you have to give it the benefit of the doubt. Again, as long as it stays above that breakout level, there's a chance it might see higher prices. Now let's discuss some of the problems that I see on this daily chart at the current moment. And what I see here is an attempt to make an improvement in daily closing highs, but that attempt is coming at the expense of the RSI right now, coming back to test this line. So the top side resistance line on the RSI might be a problem. If it cannot move above this line here, I would suspect that in the coming days, this would be the reason why the stock is going to have to pull back. Take a look at the hourly. And keep in mind, for the hourly, I'm using RSI setting of 26. Okay, and there's a simple explanation here why it could stall around current levels. Take a look at the recent break. That break there, the break right there, led to a shallow pullback. So essentially we are coming back to test that recent break right there. You can see the market is already showing signs of responding to that resistance line, and as long as that resistance line is respected, one can expect that around here the stock starts stalling. Also, if you back test the same red line, you'll see that it gives you resistance and rejection during the highs here of August before we got this shallow pullback again. So I think here we are seeing evidence of a stock that could struggle around current levels. Take a look at the 30-minute chart, and again on this 30-minute chart we are using RSI setting of 26. So just keep that in mind in case it looks a little bit different from yours. RSI setting of 26. Okay, all right. Now what is hard to see here is we go back and figure out where the recent pullback did take place, and go back to this break. Actually, that break right there, we draw a line, be somewhere around there. You can see already the market is responding to that resistance. Back test that same break point, and again on the 30-minute chart you get this high. So this line here is where it is struggling right now. I lean towards a situation where it pulls back. Now if you zoom in to this 30-minute chart, let's do that. And so we have a 1 month 30-minute chart. You can also see evidence of rejection as the stock is trying to move above 69.1. So that failure to move above 69.1 on the small time frame, the 30-minute chart, multiple rejections suggest to me that around here one can expect the stock to start pulling back. So yes, if the breakout can hold above the weekly buy point of 114.92, that's good. If the daily can stay above 115.57, that's good. But let's go back to that daily chart just to summarize this. The daily needs to hold the breakout level, and that breakout level is this recent daily closing high, so it needs to stay above 115.57. If it stays above that, that's good. At the same time, if it fails and if we see prices move below 115.57, keep in mind that might suggest that it has failed to hold momentum and is now poised to pull back. So anything below this would be a sell signal. And also you go to that weekly chart, same type of scenario here where it needs to stay above the recent weekly closing high. And as we discussed in this video, that level to watch is if it can maintain levels above 114.92. If it can, that's good, and failure to hold above that level would actually be a failed breakout and a reason to get out of any long position. Eric Mwather at mwather.com. Of course, we'll see how things go. As always, good luck, peace, and blessings. E-A-C-S.